What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for October 22nd, 2024. 3.24.2 was rushed out the door, and it's struggling. I played 4.0, and it also has some interesting stuff in it, and it was Citizencon this weekend. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. Stop by and say hi like many of you guys did this weekend. Thank you for that. Level and I had so much fun. But before we get into the video, let me share with you today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com, the global men's lifestyle brand that is once again setting the bar higher in men's grooming standards. Now, I've got something special for you today. If you're looking to take your grooming routine to the next level, let me introduce to you Manscaped's newest game changer, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver. You've got the skin-safe 4-blade foil for that super close shave, and the skin-safe stubble trimmer as well for when you want to keep a little bit of edge. Both are designed to help reduce razor burn and irritation, so your skin feels smooth and comfortable after every shave. And if you want even more precision, on the right side of the bracket, there's a precision lock, and when you lock it, the blade head sits firm. There are 3 predefined lock positions the blade head can lock into. The Chairman Pro isn't just for daily shaves either. It's powerful enough to tackle up to 5-day growth, making it perfect for whether you're shaving every day or just tidying up after a few days. So if you're looking to elevate your grooming routine, the Chairman Pro is the ultimate tool for the job. With its advanced features and Manscaped's trusted quality, you're going to love the way you look and feel. Use promo code SaltEMike for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Once again, that's 20% off plus free international shipping with promo code SaltEMike at Manscaped.com. Don't settle for anything less. Upgrade to the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that's as smooth as you deserve. Trust me, your face will thank you. As always, thanks for supporting me and the sponsors. They help me hire editor Biggs, who, yes, does live under my futon. And he threw today's episode together very last minute, but without any more delay, let's get to those patch notes. All right, we started out on Monday with a PTU for 3.24.2, and they did a few updates where they said they muted the hangar alarm sounds, but they didn't. And then they did declutter radar quite a bit to the point where, yeah, I wasn't able to lock on to turrets, so how do we destroy them at bunkers? And then they did some refueling balance, and it actually worked at an outpost for me for once. And yeah, they added a number of ships to the in-game shops, the Atlas, the F-7C Mark II, Retaliator modules, and a few more. The main reason for the patch, though, was to test this Save Stanton event thing, but it wasn't working. Then on Tuesday, 3.24.2, we had just a few minor changes, but the highlight for me was actually completing some of the Save Stanton missions. I did one each of the cargo mission and the protection one. And in case you didn't know, you don't need to do 6 cargo and 6 protection ones to get to the next level. You need to do 6 total, and you can see that count in your journal, which is pretty cool. Druval, who was a huge help for me lately, has been sharing, or has shared, the Phase 2 missions with me. I didn't run them yet, so there's just a little Moby description there for you, and they're FPS focused. Wednesday, another 3.24.2 PTU, was just a number of bug fixes and a lot of mining bug fixes because it's been completely broken. Thursday, 3.24.2 went live before it was ever ready, that's for sure. They had to hotfix it on Friday and announced today on Monday, when I'm recording this, that there are more hotfixes coming because it's still broken. And I will just list the changes in the patch on the screen from the notes as we've discussed, you know, the live notes all through the last week or so. So you should know what's there, MFDs, that kind of stuff. They likely pushed this to sell the Zeus before Citizencon, so it didn't hurt sales of whatever ships they planned on selling there. And that was the whole idea behind this, would be my guess. So yet again, marketing strikes again. Before the marketing event, that we should all be okay about the marketing act, right? Friday, 4.0 was an EVO test. They opened the doors to allow us to see EVO before Citizencon for some reason. And I think it was a really bad idea, to be honest. Then, that was basically the highlight of the week for me, right? It was really fun. I experienced a jump from the passenger seat because I couldn't spawn in a ship, and I found the Ghost Arena, which is really impressive. And I did a video on this and stuff. There was jump puzzles and loot rooms and all sorts of things. So feel free to check out my video on that, where I go into a little bit more detail. But the reason I think this was a really bad idea is once we get to Citizencon, you don't even remember that this happened. So I don't understand the idea behind it. I don't think it drummed up enough hype before Citizencon, and you don't even remember that it happened after because you were so hyped from Citizencon. It's kind of weird choice. I think it made a lot more sense after Citizencon than before, but whatever. We also got a launcher update, and yeah, it just kind of, that's it. So now on to Citizencon stuff. Like, let's go. Let's talk about the good stuff. All right, and on day one, we started out with a panel called Brave New Worlds. I'm going to be honest, I almost fell asleep during this one. It was very technical, but also nothing too crazy that they were sharing. I'm just going to cherry pick some of the cool stuff that they showed for you, but it's still a long list. They were here to show off their new tech suite, Genesis. Planets are going to have new data sets like soil type and moisture and temperature to determine what biomes will spawn there, and it should feel more natural. They have denser forests now. Seasons are going to be a thing. Since UE5 did that a few years ago, you knew CR had to have it. They shared new biomes like swamps, which look incredible. As a man who practically lives in one, water interactions were also demoed in the swamp biome. Jungles are incredibly dense and look amazing as well. And then you had the redwood forest as their third new biome. They showed off Starchitect that will take locations on planets and balloon the amount of them to ensure that we have content to find organically and with missions without getting kind of bogged down like we do now. AI will also have different day and night perception levels, which is kind of cool. And they have new sounds and VFX for explosions. And these are pretty sick.
Shockwave, and the explosion itself. One more.
And then they showed off one of the most insane demos I've ever seen in a CIG show. It was visually stunning and pulled the whole panel together to show what CIG can do with their tech visually. But I was left extremely empty after this panel, wanting more, because I want to play the game, not look at it. All of this was impressive and make whatever the game CIG decides to make that much better. They haven't shared with us that game yet. They then moved on to a social universe where we saw our new friends list, which showed online, offline, and away status, locations, calls, favorites, and a note option. Next was a block and hostile list. You cannot communicate with them and vice versa, and you will not be able to group up with them that easily. It's possible, it sounds like, but not that easily. They also are making a kill on site list, but not giving too many details on the associated rules with it. The party list is next, and it shows a much more detailed status, location, system, even what seat they are in a ship, and if they're injured or not. And for streamers, they said that they're going to have like a streamer mode to hide information on screen a little bit more easily. I don't know how I feel about this. If I'm at Yella, you're going to know I'm at Yella, so it is what it is. They actually made a party finder as well, and it seems fairly powerful and useful. You shouldn't need a big org, to do group play. You should just be able to join a party with randoms. So very classic MMO things. I think one more important change is next, chat improvements. They do all the basics that you're used to and seeing in modern and even older MMOs. And on top of that, they added one of the most useful features that I enjoy from EVE, links. I can link locations, I can link items, people, and more. I really hope they dial this in because it can be incredibly useful. I was so excited to see this. For the guides out there, they are adding the guide system to the game, and it has all sorts of rewards and reputations associated with it. There was much more detail there, but for the time, I am keeping it short. Remember, links to all this are in the description. Orgs are getting a huge update as well. They start out with recruitment, which has filters to get applicants you are looking for or orgs that people are looking for. You can still join more than one org, but you can only main one org. They have all the tools like notifications and even a calendar. The org you're representing will give you a tag next to your name, and you gain benefits with that org. The guild will choose, or the org will choose a guild to align with, and tasks done by org members will benefit them based on the individual's loyalty rating to that org from that guild. I know it's a little bit confusing, but basically you choose to align with one guild and you might get like faster research time, something like that. The members tab allows you to manage your members and their permissions, and there are alliance and rival systems now, but outside alliance chat, all this seems to be kind of fluff at the moment, or be an indicator of a friend or a foe, and not like a rule set that allows you to attack people in high sec, anything like that. And then the end there was a sweet little cosmetic video letting us know that we will have org skins and org logos on clothing and armor and our ships, which is very, very cool. Very cool. This episode, or this panel was really good. Just a note here for everybody. I'm going through these very quickly, but I do think I'm going to make individual videos on this channel for the things that I think are really, really exciting. This is going to be one of them probably. And hopefully we get more information on the next one, which is Dress to Kill. And yeah, I really have my eye on this one. They started out by letting us know that we will have much more customizability with being able to wear armor without an undersuit and clothing under armor, like just totally different than what we experience now. Then we had a whole thing about archetypes that they want to kind of have with their armor, so we can make decisions on what to wear based on what we want to do. And they share vague PowerPoints and videos with like little graphs and stuff, but no real details there, or at least not finer details, about what armors can specialize in, right? The tanky armor may not have EVA thrusters, or the sniper armor is hard to detect with scan, but the hunter armor has the best scanner, were some examples they gave. Next, I was blown away. They not only made a sandworm, but it's intended to be a proper raid boss with mechanics and all. It drops really high value crafting loot, and there'll be smaller and medium ones too. And yeah, then at the end, they share a cartoon of all the ideas they're working on for like apex predators and things like that, which is, yeah, this panel was crazy, but at the same time, it was the one that was kind of missing a lot for me. I was expecting so much more from the armor, but we found out later that the person who was supposed to share the armor panel ended up backing out like last minute. So knowing that, they kind of threw something together for us and gave us the details that we need to know, but not the finer details. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of ISCs on the finer details on a lot of this stuff. So I imagine we'll get one of these pretty soon. The Beyond Pyro panel is pretty self-explanatory. The first system they showed was Nyx. We all knew it was coming, but I had no idea they were this far along and can do the location this much justice. It was beautiful. It was stunning. From there, we moved to Area 18, and all the places they like where they explained where they want to do instance gameplay, like inside cities, and they did this whole thing, and it was really basic PowerPoint with images explaining that there'll be big levels, nothing monumental here, but sharing their intentions, which is really good. It just feels so far off since they didn't have a ton of stuff to show, just a bit of concept art, right? Then we learned about the fourth system, and it would be Castra. It sits on the former kind of Cold War line with the Xi'an, and it has just a couple of planets. They put together a pretty nice video to show where it is in terms of its development, and Nyx felt much further along, but this looks really great too. And then lastly, they shared some more PowerPoint images and the description of the city there in Castra. And then they ended day one with a demo of Squadron 42. It looked great in the cutscenes, but they had a few issues with crashes. We didn't even get to see the end. They posted a better playthrough on their YouTube channel and said the PC that they were using was unstable. I thought the demo was pretty good. I know what to expect from Wing Commander, like that, these kind of games from Chris, but it was that on steroids. The story seems decent, the acting was good, and I'm ready to just follow along the story one day. But now I know what one day means. They gave us a date, kind of, 2026. And you can actually hear the air come out of the sails of the people at the end of day one. I think a lot of people, myself included, were hoping for 2025, but I think we all kind of knew it was probably going to be later than that. And then on to day two. Day two. Crafting your home was the first panel, and it was almost everything I could and have been asking for years. They started out with blueprints. You will acquire them through many activities in the game, but they are found on a datapad or the like and can be looted or stolen until you claim them. Once you claim them, they are account bound and you will never lose them. Materials are used in the blueprint and will determine the stats of it. In this example, aluminum lowers the weight and makes the weapon stronger, while copper raises its fire rate. The higher the material quality, the higher those bonus stats will be. You will want to upgrade your blueprints as well to get better stats on your items and ships also. And you do so by filling out tasks like this one, making 100 pistols, but it takes a long time to do. There was also a 4-hour or 20-hour timer there. I can't remember what was there, but it was long. Upgraded items have a very noticeable difference in the demos they shared. It's actually pretty incredible. The recoil on the gun, the spooling on the drive, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it was very noticeable. There are a number of different crafting machines, and they determine what we craft, from fuses all the way up to ships. And then they went on to base building. The rest of the panel focused on that, and they started out kind of small with the homestead, and it uses a little cart to build, and this was all really cool. Same rules apply, but better the materials you use, the stronger the structure will be, and so on. This seems very far off, but the cart and other base building tools will allow you to survey land as well, so finding subsurface material, and you could decide if you want to stake your claim there or not. But the bird's eye view does seem smooth in the video demo, so maybe this is further along than we think. We know it's in active development now. They have a whole power linking system, and of course they will allow us to personalize and decorate it. I am sure they will sell us a few of those things as well. Then they show larger bases, and we see things like platforms, hangars, extractors, refineries, and ship crafting facilities. It was really an impressive demo, but at this point I started to remind myself, we can't even get cargo missions to work. How is this all going to come together, right? So this is something I'll break down. The design ideas here, their ideas behind this are all really fun. For example, I could place 3 freight elevators down at the same base and they will all share inventory, right? To kind of ease things. They're actually thinking about the player experience. Very cool. Captains of Industry is next, and they show 2 vehicles that craft bases. The first one is a cart that we saw earlier in the base building homestead demo that builds small structures. A new vehicle, the ARGO the CSV-FM, holds 2 medium drones, which means it can craft small and medium structures, while the previous one can only craft small structures. And because it has 2 drones, it can make 2 buildings at once. Then they introduce the Starlancer family. The build is the construction ship that can build large structures, and the TAC and Max. It's basically a large freelancer. They then changed the concept of the Pioneer, and it was dead quiet in the room when they showed it. The interior looked good, though. It's a crafting ship, that's for sure. Basically, an entire mobile industrial base. It can even extract from the ground through its landing gear, like mine ore through its landing gear. They showed the ships they haven't delivered yet as well, but they said they plan to deliver all of them except for one, the hacking ship. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, before the end of the year. And they showed a weird teaser of ships for IAE. Basically, it had a Crusader ship in it for sure, but they were like hiding everything. But I don't know what else besides the Polaris that was in this one. And then they end with a silhouette shot like they did last year, and there were some really interesting looking ships in there. One of them was definitely a Prospector, and the Ironclad and Pioneer were there as well. So we see their intention for the schedule going forward. I'm very excited for the Ironclad, as many of you know. Then we ended the weekend with 1.0 talk. Like most of the panels, I will keep this one pretty short and sweet, but dive into a few subjects that I think are important more deeply. Rich Tyrer starts out with stating what 1.0 is, and I mean, it's a release product, right? So no more alpha. It's expected to have performance, minimal bugs, and so on. Then they move on to explain that there will be a main story quest line, and that is how we will earn our citizenships, which was previously the Squadron 42 completion reward. Then they go on to explain that we will launch with only 5 systems, not 100, and why, and that you can add Terra to that list of systems because we only saw 4 yesterday on the day 1 panel, right? Next, we heard about reputation and how it can help create game loops for players. They started out with mining in a prospector and moved to combat to get a blueprint to then mine again to create a Hornet, right? That's kind of the idea that they're showing here. So you can have more experiences, but you can do it yourself. The most controversial, but is now kind of cleared up with, is ship insurance, right? People didn't understand it. If you have insurance, you get the value of the ship back in UEC. If you have a warranty, there are 3 levels of that. This is an optional thing that you can do. Basically, a level 1 warranty will give you your stock ship and components back. If you upgrade to level 2, you will get upgraded components back. And if you get a level 3, you'll get your upgraded components back, the ship, and the all of the things that you placed inside the ship will be exactly where you left it. I do believe this will include cargo as well. People were confused how LTI played into this. LTI will provide players with level 1 warranty for life, and a pledge ship will not be lost. So if you accidentally lose your insurance on your ship because you forgot to pay it or something like that, and it is not LTI, you will get the option to pay to get it back. I'm sure it'll be very expensive and it'll be punishing because you're going to get a ton of warnings not to do this. So it just makes sense to not do that. And Jared, thank you for posting the clarification on that on Spectrum so quickly, because yeah, people were confused and they definitely needed to know this answer, right? Because it affects their purchasing decisions. They also showed large scale PvP. And large PvP orgs are going to fight over resources, essentially. But there's this really cool defense system to protect the resources, like once you claim them in Pyro for a short period of time. So people are going to be fighting over that resource of defense to actually be able to extract the really good resources from Pyro. I'm going to do a deep dive on this because I think this is one of, if not the most important thing shared for anybody who wants to PvP, at least large scale, in the game at all. It was, I think it was a chef's kiss. I thought it was really, really smart. Can they achieve it? I don't know, but as far as the on-paper design, I think it's really good. And then at the end, they let us know that we're going to be able to build space stations. And this continues to get more and more insane. And as they kept talking, to like, I don't know, to the point where I don't believe this is possible in any reasonable time frame. It was so over the top. It made me feel like it won't happen at all. Like, I want all of those things to happen. It was amazing, right? Like, I am seeing Eve, but in first person, and it's just mind-blowing, something that you would never think is possible. Because it's probably not, right? Like, I think that they're just trying to do a big reveal to get people excited, but they don't have to be held to any sort of standard or timeline or anything on that stuff. So I really hope this isn't the case. I really hope they're doing things that they know they're capable of doing, but the end got me simultaneously so excited, but also it woke me up from all of the like, oh, this is so amazing kind of stuff throughout the entire weekend, because yeah, it just makes me feel like this probably isn't going to happen anytime soon or at all. All right, and for other updates, the sneak peek was a pretty dumb one, but it's totally understandable as everyone was probably all hands on deck at Citizencon, but this was just a look inside the venue the day before the event. Dev posts, Sniper Glint. Basically in this post, Zach gives us some insight into why Sniper Glint is still in, but that he's totally open to get rid of it. As you saw at Citizencon, he's got his hands pretty full with a giant worm. No pun intended there, actually. I just realized that when I read this, that's ridiculous. And yeah, they will also get to this eventually, but who knows when. Like with most devs that are on the PU, they always seem stretched too thin to keep up with the products they own within the open development kind of ethos, right? Worm harvestables. So Zach points out that maybe their intentions are to have lower quality or completely null harvestables on creatures and others if you shoot them in the wrong place or use the wrong types of weapons, is what's implied here. That does help the one-stop shop that is the A2. And then just before I started recording this, really early Tuesday morning now, resources on planets. Declan, who shared with us how base building will work, took the time to get to the forums to let us know that resources under the surface will indeed be finite, as well as a number of other details about having too many bases will be expensive and so on, and that you can kind of remove bases and all that kind of stuff. Really good post. Check it out if you guys haven't yet. And that'll do it. So I want to leave this with, this week was pretty great. Citizencon has me excited. I've never wanted to play the game more, to start building an organization, to be ready for when this stuff comes out, right? All the organization kind of stuff, to be ready for the org. But at the same time, I know this is CIG. I know that they didn't deliver anything last year. I know that they probably won't deliver on a lot of this stuff this year. We got one date from Chris about base building in the next 12 to 18 months, something like that. Outside of that, they kept everything very vague on a timeline because it's probably years away. This was a hype event, and I'm hyped, but I'm hyped for a different reason. Not on the visual side, but on the I think they're making a game that I'm going to enjoy side. If they stick to the plan that they shared today, I'm excited for it. But ask me in 6 months if I'm excited playing a completely broken 4.0 build with nothing to do, right? None of the reputation stuff, none of the sandworm or whatever, I don't know. But that's kind of how I feel right now. Is I feel happy, but I also feel empty. And I think the roadmap's really going to come into play here big time, and how they communicate to us the steps that they're taking to get to that 1.0 from this point forward. So Jake's got his hands full, and we'll see what happens there. But that's how I'm feeling. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a lot to put together, and I just tried to keep it. I was just going through my mind of, do I keep it short and sweet and make other videos, or do I go mega long? I decided to go the short and sweet route, and I will go mega long. And as always, like I like to do, is have the devs' words be what you guys hear instead of just mine, where today I decided to just kind of summarize what happened because it was just so much information. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more weeks in review, and comment down below on anything that you want to discuss. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, I'll see you in the verse. Probably not for a while because now I just want to play that game.